Good morning, Swiss Safety Institute. This is Gail Palmer, one of your fellow instructors, and today we are going to do a video on how to navigate through the Red Cross Learning Center, RCLC. So the first thing you want to do when you log in to the Red Cross Learning Center, RCLC, is to make sure that your screen says Instructor Portal. If for some reason it says Student Portal, something has happened that not all of your instructor information has gotten moved over, and you're going to need to probably call 1-800-RED CROSS to get that fixed. We are going to go through each of the tabs on the Red Cross Learning Center and talk about some of the important ones to remember. So on our home screen here, first up we have any announcements that Red Cross has. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on this if something new comes out, especially during COVID times or anything like that with the release of R21. Any of those announcements are going to be listed right here on the screen. Also, on the right side, they have quick actions and links. So they list some COVID guidance, some updates, course materials, some of the Get Help videos, those kind of things. As we scroll down, you see here it says classes I am teaching. So currently I don't have any classes on my RCLC. Hopefully I have one that shows up today because I am teaching a class in 3 days. Red Cross tries to get those classes uploaded to our profiles about 72 hours prior to class. So be on the lookout for those. If it's not there 48 hours before class, please reach out to Deb and she will contact Red Cross to make sure that that shows up on your profile. But your current classes, if you have anything that you're currently assigned for in the next 48, 72 hours, they will be listed here. You also see here, there is a class history tab. If I click on that very quickly, you can see it takes me to all of the classes that I have taught since the inception of the Red Cross Learning Center. So for some reason, if you have to look back on any of your old classes, that is where you can find them. Now, as we move down, you can see here, classes I'm taking. So any of your updates, any of those things that you have done are going to show up here. They also, if you have an update you have to do, will normally be listed under this instructor education. So if they come out with another update that we need to do for a program, it will show up here. And this is where you can see that you either have completed it, or if I scroll down just a little bit here, it'll show that I have one that is in progress. So that will show you, what you've completed, what you need to work on. As always, on the Red Cross Learning Center, there is a click to chat function. So for some reason you're having an issue with something, you need to talk to the TSC, the Training Service Center, 1-800-RED CROSS. You can do the click to chat button if you want to do that, and they will just message back and forth with you while you are online. So that is our home button. If we go to classes, here again, we could click on the classes I'm taking, classes I'm teaching. If you were taking a class, if you were signed up for a class, this is where it would show there. This is another place to show the classes that you're teaching along with the home page. The important one to show on here is course materials. So if we click on course materials, you want to make sure if you don't see your class listed, you click at the bottom here on View All. That will bring up every class that Red Cross offers. So if we scroll down here to First Aid CPR AED R21, we'll click there. Here we can find any participant materials. Remember with the R21, there isn't a participant manual per se. The students will get a code for an ebook. So this is where you could find that code. If you like the ready reference cards, if you like to print those out, here's where you can find those for adult and pediatric. If we scroll down to the instructor materials, we have lots of things listed here. Your instructor's manual, all those good things. What I really want to take a moment to point out here is the Course Presentation Manager downloads. There is one for Windows and there is one for Macs. If you have not used the Course Presentation Manager before, I highly recommend that you use it for your classes. When I get done going through RCLC, I will show you my screen and how it works. Basically, you click on this, it gives you an option to download it to your computer. What happens is there is a program that downloads to the desktop of your computer. It's not something that you can move on a thumb drive or anything. It's just an app that sits out on your desktop and it's always there for you. Once you download that, you will click on the type of class you need. You will click on Add. You want to make sure you have a good internet connection when you do that because it does take some good bandwidth to get those downloaded. But once those are downloaded into the Course Presentation Manager, you do not need to be connected to the internet during your classes. You can run those presentations with no internet. So I highly, highly recommend that you download your Course Presentation Manager. Red Cross does also have the PowerPoints for these courses that you can download. But again, I would really recommend you do the Course Presentation Manager. So we have lots of things with this new information. There's course outlines, video segments. The videos are embedded into the Course Presentation Manager. So if you use the Course Presentation Manager, you do not need to download any videos separately. So they have some great information here. As we go down, videos. If for some reason you needed just the videos, here are all the videos that are in the class. As you can see, there are a lot of videos. So don't take the time to try download each and every one of these. Just note they are going to be in your Course Presentation Manager. And then they do have a tab here for closed caption videos. So this will give the words along with each of the videos. I will show you in the Course Presentation Manager how you can click on closed captioning. Then we have our teaching resources. We've got our fact sheets, your progress log for you to use during class, the skill boost in class handouts if you're doing a skill boost, all of those good things. It talks about some of these bridges that you can do. At the moment, in January of 2022, we cannot do these two bridges yet, the head, neck, muscle, bone, and joint injuries and splinting, or the life-threatening bleeding and tourniquet instructor bridges, because there's a virtual class that you need to attend if you are not already like an EMR instructor, something like that. And so once Red Cross gets those virtual classes set up, then you'll be able to do those bridges. Here's where you find your written exams for this class. Now just remember that you don't need to do written exams for a regular lay responder CPR class unless the employer is requiring it. So, 999 times out of 1,000, you will probably never do a written exam. The only other place that you may do a written exam is if you have a blended class and the student shows up and says, I didn't get the online part done, or what online part? We are to give them the option of doing a written test, but we need to make sure that we explain to them that if you do not pass the written test, you fail the course and you are going to lose your money for that class. You are going to have to pay a second time to take that class. Most of the time, that will make those students just feel the need to reschedule, which they can easily do. You can tell them, hey, just call 1-800-RED-CROSS, get rescheduled, and they can get rescheduled. But we are to offer them that option of the written test. There isn't anything under the optional modules for this one because they do have the skill boosts that are listed under the normal instructor materials. But again, any of your classes that you're teaching, it's going to have these same tabs. so that you can find any of that information that you need for those classes. And so that is all under course materials. If we go to resources, couple things to talk about here. Administrative information. Again, they do have more so that we can see the full list. Couple things to talk about here. Nominate someone for an American Red Cross Life Saving Award. If you or someone you know used your Red Cross classes to help save or sustain a life, they helped somebody who was choking, they did CPR on somebody, Red Cross wants to know. Here is going to be the link so they can be nominated for that life-saving award. Also, we have the instructor hierarchy chart. This is good to know if you are an instructor and you're like, am I allowed to teach bloodborne pathogens? If you look at that chart, it'll tell you if you are a regular instructor, you can teach bloodborne pathogens. But it'll tell you, no, you can't teach lifeguarding. So it'll give you all of the class options out there, and it'll tell you if you currently can teach them with your current instructor certification, if you need to do a bridge, or what you need to do to be able to teach those other classes. Another thing that I want to scroll down and talk about is the Inclusion Resource Guide. There is an online inclusion class that you need to take, so please make sure that you get that done. But if you have a question on how can I make an accommodation for a student that has X, Y, or Z, then this inclusion guide is very helpful. You know, if you have someone with hearing issues, vision issues, they only have one arm, it will give you some of those ADA accommodations that we can make for those students. It's a great guide to use. Also, just in case if you are a new instructor, you need some information on mannequin requirements, mannequin decontamination and use, those kinds of things. There are some tabs here you can click on. I will say they are very generic. From what I have found, most of the mannequins that are out on the market are acceptable in Red Cross world. If you are coming over from the American Heart side, I know American Heart requires feedback mannequins. Red Cross at this point does not. So this will talk about the requirements. It talks about lung size and those kind of things. So then if we go back up here to the instructor life cycle. So we are going to mainly be talking about the bridging. So if you need to bridge to another type of class, or you are coming over from AHA or ASHE becoming a Red Cross instructor, here's where you're going to find that great information. So if you want to bridge over to become a babysitter instructor, bless your heart. Babysitting classes are great classes. It is definitely a class that needs to be updated, but it is a great class to teach. So this will give you the instructor bridge instructions so that you can bridge over to becoming a babysitting instructor. Again, here's that instructor hierarchy chart. This one is actually updated for January 2021. So this was a little more updated than the previous tab. They have to get that updated. And so here they are going to give you all that information on how to bridge to these other classes. So you can find some great information there. The next tab on here is the forum. I have a love-hate relationship with the forum. I find some really good information on here sometimes, and then I have other days I'm just shaking my head going, didn't their instructor trainer talk about this in their instructor class? But with this forum, it's other instructors asking questions, making comments on things. There are different groups that you can look at. There's one for first aid, CPR, AD, one for instructor trainers, lifeguarding, the RCLC site feedback, water safety instructors, just a general tab, course presentation manager feedback, caregiving, BLS, ALS, and PALS, the training network. So when you click on those, they do have some really good questions in there some days. So, you know, if you have a few spare minutes here and there, it never hurts to go on here and read through. You might find something that you didn't know. My certification, very important tab. You need to make sure you are staying current on your certifications, because if you let one of your certifications fall off, you may need to take classes over again, and that is something you really don't want to do. So here it gives you the name of your certification, and it's going to tell you when it expires. I don't know who put in my babysitter training instructor, but I am thrilled that, it's good till 2114. So that's great. Make sure to click on the More button, because then that will bring up all of your certifications so that you can see, okay, my adult and pediatric first aid CPR AED is going to be expiring in September. I need to keep in my mind that I need to get that class redone. If we click on the News tab, we also have all of the newsletters for quite a while. So if you want to go back and look at any of those old newsletters, you sure can. If there's any new information that's released, it will also be in here. So it's newsletters and just good information that you can look at. If we go to the Questions tab, here they do have some FAQs for some general questions, so you can look and see if your question is there. If you need to create a support case with the TSC, something is majorly wrong, you can do that here. And again, that click to chat button is down there. So if you're having an issue, you can do a click to chat if you need to. So just make sure that you get familiar with each of these tabs so you know where this information is. Now I was going to show you that course presentation manager. So let me get out of here. And if you look at my screen up here in the top right corner, I have my course presentation manager. So when I would get to a class, I double click on it. And here I am going to click on First Aid, CPR, AED. Now I've already downloaded all of these, so these say View. So if I am teaching a adult and pediatric First Aid, CPR, AED blended course, I'm going to click on here on View. And I'm going to tell it to start over. We're going to click on Module 1 and click on the first tab there. And boom, there is my first slide for the class. So it's really nice there that I can make it full screen, and there we go. And you can either enter or use your right arrow to go to the next slide. I'm just trying to get to a video here so I can show you closed captioning. So when the videos come up, it brings you this screen. All you have to do is, if you've got a clicker, click your next button and the video will start. Or if you're at your computer down here, you can click the play button. Now we see this little gray box that's next to the play button. We are going to click that, and that's going to make our closed captioning work.
For proper glove removal, first,
and there we
the
go.
palm side of one glove on the other.
So here I have downloaded all of these presentations for each of the different classes. It's nice with the R21. They do have a presentation for pretty much every class that you're going to be teaching, including bloodborne pathogens is now on here, which is very nice. Now, when you first come to it, you're going to have to add these in. So let me just click on Pediatric Advanced Life Support, because I have not downloaded these. You see here it says Add. So if I were to become a PALS instructor, I would start clicking on these where I have a good internet connection and click Add, 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 and I would get those added. If you teach basic life support, again, they have those presentations there. It's easy to use those presentations. So just make sure that you get those added in. I hope you all had a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy teaching.